Energy market trends and updates, specifically in Texas, but I would say the same is probably true in most markets. It's just heightened even more so in Texas. The big thing happening right now is just the mass emergence and incentivization, a lot of times from governments, federal and state, to just accelerate and hyper growth of the renewable energy sphere, wind, solar, and honestly, up front, there's just a lot of additional cost with not a lot of benefit passing through. Why? Might seem counterintuitive to say that, but we're putting so much money into new generation capacity of renewables like wind and solar. The problem is that you're not eliminating the cost of fossil fuel. It's all still got to be there to back up the wind and the solar, because there are times when neither of those are working very well. Specifically wind, it's really good when it's good, it's really bad when it's bad. The problem is there's so much expense and transmission expense to get it to where you need it, because the wind in Texas is way out west. There's a lot of transmission lines, high powered lines that have got to get it to where you need it. And when it isn't blowing, then you've got to be able to perfectly back it up and transition into fossil fuel generation. So you're not eliminating any of that. So really the trend is, how do we balance the two? How do we, marry the two so that we have consistent, reliable supply to meet the demands of Texas and wherever else in a way that makes sense? The problem with the emergence of renewables is that we're not matching the new generation from wind and solar with any type of storage capacity. The problem with those is that you can make it when you can make it, and when you can't, again, you got to have fossil fuels. If we don't have storage capacity for renewables, it honestly, we're over generating on renewables right now. And so it's creating additional costs. It's actually driving prices up a little bit because it's not being matched with storage capacity, which is what would allow the renewables to make sense and to be a reliable, ongoing source of power generation for the grid. Right now, we're kind of out of balance a little bit. And so that's really what's happening in the markets. How it affects consumers, you're not really going to see it, honestly. Prices ultimately are going to go up. Thankfully, they've not really. I mean, yes, in the past year, we've seen, prices go up quite a bit. And well, they've kind of come back down recently in 2024. But, there's just a lot of things going on behind the scenes that you're really not going to see. What I would encourage people to do is, if you want to support the green industry, get direct, get solar on your home, especially in Texas. There's very few scenarios where solar on your rooftop doesn't make sense. Generating at the source and not having to transmit it from West Texas, that's always more efficient than getting it from some remote location, especially when it comes to green energy, and especially when you can pair it with storage capacity in your house, maybe with a battery or whatever else. So you've got some backup ability, and you can actually help the grid by reducing peak energy demand in the middle of the afternoon in a hot summer day. That's really what is taxing the grid, are those moments when you may not have wind on a hot summer day when peak demand is at its height, and you've got to crank up all the fossil fuel generation to match. Again, hey, it's great when the wind's blowing, but it's really tough on the grid when it's not. And that's the difficulty right now of what's going on there.